My name is Doug Parker, host of the Cruise Radio Podcast, and this is a tour of Seabourn Sojourn. If you like this video and you want to see more ship tours, subscribe to the channel and give the video a thumbs up. So Seabourn is Carnival Corporation's luxury brand and touts 6-star ultra luxury. So it's 36,364 gross registered tons, 450 guests. It was launched in 2010 and is 650 feet long. Now we're going to jump right into the ship here, where Deck 2 is the marina that is used as a launch platform for the water toys and the Zodiacs, especially sailing in the off-the-beaten-path Caribbean islands and the Alaska area. Now, the medical center is one deck up on Deck 3, and that's pretty much about it for Decks 2 and 3. Now, Sojourn has 2 banks of elevators. There's 2 forward, and then there's 4 aft. The atrium in the middle of the ship has a spiral staircase that goes from Deck 4 all the way up to Deck number 9. Up to Deck number 4, you have the main dining room, and that's called the restaurant. This is one of 4 dining options on the ship, although the casual dining options are a bit limited during the evenings on Sojourn. Now, since this ship only carries a few hundred passengers, you can dine when you'd like to within a certain time frame, and that's pretty much all about it here in the main dining room and on Deck 4, except a handful of suites located forward of the restaurant here on Deck number 4. I should also note that most of the staterooms on Seabourn Sojourn are only for double occupancy, meaning that there's just a handful of cabins that are designed for that third person. Most of them are designed just for 2 passengers. And speaking of staterooms, they are well appointed with plenty of space to maneuver around, and the bathrooms are quite large with a bathtub and then a separate walk-in shower. Really nice. And a lot of the cabins have a him and hers sink as well in there, and just a nice space. And the balconies are a decent size as well. Up to Deck number 5. Now, most of Deck number 5 is staterooms, with the exception of the back part of the ship. Now, there's also a walk-around promenade on the port and starboard side where you can kind of walk outside on Deck 5 from midship to the aft. And then within the ship, once you get to that spiral atrium and you keep walking back, you have the club back there. This is a place where they do the trivia. It's a meeting spot when there are shore excursions to be offered. There's a little stage in here that a band will play on, and a little teeny tiny casino. I'm talking about just a handful of slot machines and a couple of tables in here and a cashier's cage. That's about it. Not a lot of action happening as far as the casino is concerned on Seabourn Sojourn. But I should also mention, because the drinks are included in the price of your cruise, you don't have to be playing a casino or a machine to get a free drink, because you can get a drink anytime you want, night or day. And then in the very back of the club, you'll find a pool and 2 whirlpools outside. There's some seating areas, some loungers out there, and of course they do have roving bartenders that will get you drink service in the back as well. Up to Deck number 6, Deck 6 aft is where you'll find the salon. That's where the nightly entertainment is held. You also have the lecturers that will speak throughout the voyage in here as well. There is a little bar set up when you walk in here, but it's not the kind of bar you're thinking of. There's popular wines, liqueurs, drinks, and bottled water. Because everything is, included in the price of the cruise, you really don't have to, just kind of pour what you want to pour and be done with it. But there's also roving bar servers around the theater, so you will never go thirsty in the main theater here. It's also worth noting that on the very front of this deck, there is a whirlpool. Some of the folks took advantage of it. It was a little too chilly for me, so I sat it out. But with the ship only carrying around 450 people, the odds of it being empty are pretty good. Now, Deck number 7 is Seabourn Square. This is an all-in-one type area. The shore excursions desk is in here where you can book your adventures. You have the guest relations or the customer service area. The future cruise desk is in here, also a coffee shop that has a variety of coffees, and then throughout the day, they have like gelato in here, also pastries in the morning, and little snacks and cookies throughout the day. On the very back of this Seabourn Square, there's an outside kind of wraparound. It's a really quiet area and a nice place for sail away, especially if you're sailing away from a really picturesque port. I know we stood back here when we sailed away from Sitka, Alaska, and it was really, really nice. Aside from the Seabourn Square area, midship you have the 2 winter garden suites, And then all the way forward, you have the 2 signature suites that are located in the very front of the ship. You'll also find a little card and game room on the port side of midship, just off of the atrium where the spiral staircase is. Of course, you have some board games in there. People meet for bridge and other card games of the sort. Now, up to deck number 8, this is where you'll find your dining options. You'll have a couple of different venues here. The first one is called the Colonnade. It's the buffet area located on the very back of the ship. Now, it's set up as a buffet for breakfast and lunch, and then dinner time, it transitions to a sit-down restaurant, except for certain nights. I know on our 11-night sailing, I think 2 of the nights had a buffet for dinner. Otherwise, you had to go in there and order off a menu. They can bring you something off the menu as well during the breakfast time and lunchtime if the buffet doesn't look too good. But overall, the food is pretty solid, and you'll find your typical, your eggs, your bacon, your yogurts, and things like that, sandwiches and hot meals. Now, by the pool, there's the patio grill. During lunch, this is a buffet area with fast casual food like burgers and pizza and different themes like Italian, Mexican, and so on. I think we had tacos one day, burritos. And then at dinner time, it transitions to a sit-down restaurant. Now, there's also the Thomas Keller restaurant on this deck. This is a specialty, I guess you'd call it a steakhouse, but there's no cover charge because it's included in the price of your cruise, and every guest is allowed to dine in here one night during the cruise. The steak in here was amazing. There are no casual options on this ship for dinner. There are 4 venues, but they're all sit down and take about an hour and a half to 2 hours each. That's one thing this ship is lacking, is a fast casual dining option, because sometimes, after touring a port all day or doing an adventure, you just want to grab a meal and go back to your stateroom or, eat it on your own and not get dressed up. Now, they do offer room service, and that has pretty much the whole menu from the main dining room, and then your burgers, your fries, and all that. And if you want them to set a table up in your room, they'll do that for you as well. It was kind of odd for us, them coming in and setting up a tablecloth and silverware and all that in a bread basket for burgers and fries. So we would just call and say, hey, we just want a burger and fries, no tablecloth set up. You can drop the food off and just kind of head out of here but they're just doing their job. Really sweet crew members on board Seabourn Sojourn. Up to deck number 9, you have the spa at Seabourn. Inside the spa, there's a fitness center and your different treatment rooms where you can get a massage, hot stone, pedicure, manicure, the beauty salon, and also a spa pool on this deck as well. Up to deck number 10, I really dig deck number 10 on this ship because it's the observation bar. We can grab a drink and basically have a 270-degree view of whatever's in front of the ship. This was a favorite place of mine just because it was so relaxing, especially when you're sailing through Alaska and passing the glaciers or the mountains, maybe look for bears or, because of the way it's set up in here, you could actually look outside and see, look for whales as well on here. Because the ship doesn't hold a ton of people, again, 450 people-ish, the seating is pretty easy to come by, or any other lounge around the ship. Another part I like about the observation bar is you could walk outside. So you could walk around 270 degrees around the observation bar, so port and starboard or the front, and look for wildlife out there as well. Just be careful you're not standing in front of someone who's sitting in a chair trying to see the same sights you are. You could be blocking their view. Now, the last deck is deck number 11. This is where you'll find the sun terrace, and then also an observation area that overlooks the front of the ship is up here as well. You'll find some practice golf greens around here. Also, the game, what is it called? Shuffleboard, that's really popular on the cruise ships up here, and again, more lounging and places to kind of chill out. I should also mention by the pool, so the pool deck is on deck number 8. On deck number 9, there's a spot that overlooks deck number 8, so it's kind of like on the big cruise ships where there's the 2-deck Lido decks. This is the same thing for deck number 8 and deck number 9 on this ship. Some final thoughts in closing here. I feel that the internet is very overpriced. It was $400 for the premium package on my sailing, and their premium package was equivalent to like $19.95 AOL dial-up. Now, granted, yeah, you're on a cruise, you're supposed to disconnect, but you had people on there checking the stock market and their bank accounts and things like that, and they were having trouble as well. Another thing I think where they missed the mark is there's not enough casual dining options for dinner time. Personally, after I'm doing a kayaking or a hike or whatever, I don't really want to go get dressed up and go to a main dining room to have dinner. I would like a buffet option other than room service. Again, minor details, right? First world problems, but I think that, I'm not the only person who felt like that on the cruise. A lot of people just ditched dining at nighttime altogether and did room service because they didn't want to get dressed up or sit through an hour and a half or 2 hour meal production. So those are just a couple of my thoughts. If you like this video and you'd like to see more ship tours, subscribe to the channel and give the video a thumbs up. You're the reason why I do make these videos. My name is Doug Parker. I'm the host of the Cruise Radio podcast and daily Cruise Radio news briefs. You can find both of those where you listen to your favorite podcast. Just search Cruise Radio or Cruise Radio News. So what do you think about Seabourn Sojourn? Is it a ship you think you would sail on? I'd love to hear your thoughts. Leave them in the comments below, and thank you so much for watching.